Good day, good people, and thank you for joining me for another video here on the SVG Tuts YouTube channel. I am Phaedra Dion, owner and lead educator here at SVG Tuts. So in a previous video, I mentioned I'd be doing a tutorial on creating a Good Vibes Only SGV cut file. I also talked about being careful of what images and illustrations you use from Google Images, and I'll link to that video up top. So we don't have to be concerned with violating anyone's copyright, trademark, and or intellectual property. We are going to create our own cut file that we can use in any way we want, and we can even sell it. So as you can see here, I did a search on google.com, and a lot of people have reimagined this phrase, good vibes only. And because good vibes only has been used so much, I actually looked up Great Vibes Tribe because I wanted to see if anybody had done a bunch of those, or if a lot of people had done that. So I see Good Vibes, and I do see Good Vibe Tribe, the Good Vibe Tribe, and that's cool. But you know what? I want to use the word great. So we're going to make a cut file, and it's going to be member of the Great Vibes Tribe. That's going to be our cut file. Now remember, I am walking you through how to do this. So if you decide you wanted to say something else, that is absolutely fine. I'm going to show you how to do it, and then you can do it however you like to do it. We are going to need three things to get started. You're going to need an account with VectorGrove, and you can actually get this free. They have a free tier of images that you can search. Illustrations, because these are all vectors. So if I put on button in here, because that's what I used before in a previous video, which I'll link above, you can see that if you go here where it says filter by, click on that and choose AppSumo freebie, because you're going to sign up through AppSumo if you don't have an account, and it's going to show you all the free options. This is stuff you do not have to pay for. That's why you are filtering by the freebie option. And we're going to get two files from here, and you're also going to need PhotoPea, which is also free. And you may see ads over here. I don't see ad because I'm using the Brave browser, which is great for privacy and doesn't require me to have a VPN. So that is why I'm not seeing ads, because Brave by default blocks ads. So I will link Brave in the description below as well, in case you want to use it. Now Brave is based on Chrome, so if you're a Chrome user, then Brave is the same. It's just got a lot of built-in security. Alright, in VectorGrove, I will link these below. We are going to get a couple of files. I am going to put the number in here, 9901718. And that's going to be this file here, the set of vintage black Christmas symbols and ribbons, royalty-free vector image. This is a free tier image. You can download it at no cost. So the one we want is the vector graphic file, the EPS. Okay, so choose that and then download it. The other one that we want is going to be 28008170. Now I've already downloaded these, which is why I'm not downloading them again, but we want these too. So this sparkling star glowing light explosion, I'm getting the yellow, but I believe there's some other options, and again, you don't have to pick this one. You can pick any one that's free. Again, this is a free tier image. You can download it at no cost. So you're going to download the original, which is the EPS file. You can pick whatever you want, because remember, this is my cut file, and your cut file may look a little different from mine. It can look exactly like mine. It's totally fine. But if you want it to be different because you are envisioning something already as you make this, feel free to pick anything else you like that's free. And then we're going to take that first file into PhotoPea, and we're going to just get the one ribbon that we need. And that ribbon is going to be this one right here. And the reason we're downloading the EPS is because it's in layers. So we're going to leave all this other stuff behind, and we're just going to get this one ribbon right here. And lastly, once we get our ribbon out of this vector, we are going to go into Cricut Design Space to set everything up. So let's get started. So we can close VectorGrove, and we can actually close Google, and I'm going to close out Brave.com. So we are working with PhotoPea, so we can get our ribbon out of that EPS file. So I'm going to File and Open, and I am going to go to my personal storage and open that EPS. And depending on your processing speed, it might take a little bit longer for it to open, but it will eventually open. It's just got a lot of information in it. Okay, so we're coming over to the right hand side, and we're looking for the layers panel. If you don't see the layers panel, I want you to go to Window, and I want you to check layers, and you're going to see layer 1 and layer 2. Let's open layer 2 by clicking on the right pointing little caret, and then I want you to scroll all the way down, and right above the layer 2 group folder, we're going to go up to, and this is the group that we want right here. Now I know that because I looked at this before we started to save us time, but if you were going in here blind, the easiest way to figure out what layer you need is just to turn off these little eyeballs, turn off the visibility, and see what goes away. So I did that here, and that's the ribbon I want, and it went away. So I know it's this group here. So I want you to click it once, and then I want you to right click on it, and I want you to go to Duplicate Into, because we're going to take this out of here and put it in a new file. So let's click Duplicate Into, and right here where it says Destination, we're going to change that to New Project, and then we're going to click OK. So now we have this ribbon isolated in its own project. We can close the other file, or you can leave it open in case there's something else you want out of here, or if you decide that you don't like the ribbon that I've chosen, you can use another ribbon. What we're going to do now is we're going to make this bigger. We're going to make it the width of the canvas here, or the artboard. So I am going to click it. It's right here. I want to make sure that it's still chosen. I'm going to go up to Edit and Free Transform, which is also, if you're on a Mac, then it's going to be Option Command T. On a PC, it's Alt Control T. But I'm just going to click it here on Free Transform. So now it'll let me just drag it out. And I don't need to hold down any function keys because it's going to keep my proportions. And now what I want you to do with it, now that you have it the size that you want it, we're going to turn it around. So hover over the top or bottom resize box until you get the bended arrow, and then start turning. And as you turn, I want you to hold down Shift, and it will turn it at 15 degrees with each turn, so we know that it's going to be straight when we get it all the way back around, and then you can let it go. Now once you're done with that, we're going to come up here and commit to it. So the X is, no, I made a mistake, cancel. But the check mark is yes, I like what I have. Let's confirm that. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to save this as an SVG because we need this for Cricut Design Space. So let's go up to File and let's export this as an SVG. Let's change the height and width. Also, if add raster graphics is checked, uncheck that. We don't want any rasters. Rasters are the same as JPEGs, PNGs, bitmaps. We need a scalable vector graphic. So we don't need any raster graphics. Let's change the name. I'm going to change my name to Ribbon. I want it to be a SVG. And actually go ahead and make this like 500 by 500. Because once we get it into Cricut Design Space, we can make it whatever size we want. We just don't want it to be ginormous when we take it into Design Space, because it'll take forever to load, and sometimes it'll say, wow, that's a big image, and then it'll never load. So we're just going to make it 500 by 500, and we're going to save it. Save it to a place where you can find it. So I am going to go back to my personal storage, and I have a folder called Great Vibes Tribe, and I'm going to save my ribbon into that folder. Okay, we're done with PhotoPea. So our next move is into Cricut Design Space. I am done with PhotoPea, so I'm going to close that out. And I didn't save it because I don't need to save it. I have the file that I want, so I'm just going to click Leave. And then I'm going into Cricut Design Space. So let's start with a new project. And I'm using the free version without Cricut Access because not everybody has a paid subscription to Cricut Access. I do, but I like to use as many of the free options as possible just to see what's out there and to show you what's out there for free. So what we need to do at this point is we need to upload those 2 files that we got from VectorGrove. So let's go to Upload, and we are going to click on Upload Image, and we will navigate to our personal storage where we saved our files. So for me, that's here and here. I'm going to bring in the ribbon first. And it's fine to bring it in as a cut file. And so I'm going to upload it. Now that's available to me. And now I'm going to bring in that file, other file from VectorGrove, which was the Starburst thingy. So back to Great Vibes. And let's see, it's this one right here. And I can go to Visual to see it. It's a JPEG, which is fine. I'm going to bring that one in. I'm going to choose Complex and Continue. And I don't need to remove the background on this, so I'm just going to choose Apply and Continue. And let's bring that in as a print and cut. So I'm going to bring in my ribbon and my Starburst. And you can see that they're loaded up down here in the bottom right. So I'm going to choose Add to Canvas. Let's hide our Starburst for now. Right now they're grouped together. So I'm going to click away and move the Starburst image over, and I'm just going to hide it for now. Don't worry about the caution button here. It's just telling us it's too big for print and cut. So let's just turn the eyeball off here so we don't have to contend with it. And we're going to work with this ribbon right here. So I'm just going to close that up, and I am going to start with my ribbon. The first thing I want to do is change the color. So I'm going to click on it, and I have all 3 pieces, and I'm going to go up here to Operation, and I am going to click the color picker, and I want to change it to this orange here. Now remember, this is my file, so if you want a different color, feel free to choose a different color. Then we're going to go to the text button, and I'm going to type member of the. and I want a different font here. I actually want the Cricut Classic chunky font. Just in case you didn't see what I did there, I went to font and I clicked on Cricut Sans. And I'm just going to go up here and type in Cricut. And I'm going to uncheck Kern here. And I don't know why it does this sometimes. Let me just make sure I don't have another filter on. It does this sometimes, so I'm just going to do CRI in search. And I'm looking for Cricut Classic Chunky. I want this to be all uppercase, and I've typed it in sentence case, so I'm going to go back and put on my caps lock and put in member of the. Now what I want to do is I want to make this white, and I want to put it on the ribbon, and I want it to be curved. I'm going to have to change the size of it, but first let me change the size of my ribbon. I'm going to make this the width of a print and cut. So I'll go up here to size. I'll make sure that my lock is together to keep the proportions. And right here for width, I'm going to type 9.25 and I'll bring it over. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring member of the up top. Now if yours went behind, all you have to do is go to arrange and bring to front, and it'll put it in the front. But since it was the last thing that we did, it should be the first thing in the layers panel. I want it to be white, so I'm going to go to operation, the color picker, and I'm going to make it white. And it needs to be smaller. So right now the font size is 72. I'll just drag it from one of the boxes in the corner. Doesn't matter which side you do the dragging from. And I'm going to just eyeball it for now and put it over the ribbon. Now remember, this is my cut file. You might not want it over the ribbon. You might want it down here below the ribbon in a different color. It's totally fine. Totally and absolutely fine. I'm gonna pull it out some, and I'm not gonna keep doing this. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go up here to the font size and maybe put in like 24 and see what that gets me. And I actually like that. Now before I center these on each other, I want to give this text a curve. So I'm gonna go up here to curve. And I'm going to go to the right with my little button here. And I'm going to curve it to about 16. And then I'm going to put it up here between the stars. And just click away and see what I think. I think that's pretty good. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to select them both. And I'm going to go to Align. And I'm going to choose Center Horizontally. And Design Space is going to do its thing. And I'm going to say, yeah, I like it. But I do want to move member of the up a little bit. So I'm going to click on just member of the and scooch it just a couple of space. I actually did 4 with my up arrow key. And now this is what I want. So I'm going to select them both and I'm going to group them. So now I have this group of member of the and the ribbon. So I still have my Starburst. I haven't used it yet, but I still have it, but I'm not ready because at this point I want to do text again, and I'm going to do Great Enter Vibes Tribe. And for this one I want a different font. I want the Trade Gothic Display. So I'm going to go back up here to font and I'm going to put in Gothic, and it's right here, Trade Gothic Display. I'm going to choose that one, and it is uppercase by default. That's why I didn't make it uppercase, because I knew it was uppercase by default. I want this to be bigger, so I am going to make it 140 in font size. And I'm gonna bring it up because I want it to sit about right here. And I can change the spacing on this by going to line space and clicking the down arrow until it's as close as I would like it to be. And that looks good to me right here. So what I have here is a negative 5.5. I'm really liking this so far. Okay, so what I want to do now is I want to unhide that starburst. And I want to put that starburst under Great Vibes Tribe. Now it's under member of the also, but I'm not going to do anything with that. What I'm going to do is resize the starburst image. I am going to pull it down so that the starburst, or the white part of the starburst, is mostly behind Great Vibes right here in the middle. I really want it to be mostly behind Vibes, the I, B, and E. So I made it too small. Let me just pull it out some and then move it back. There we go. Now what I want to do is I want to select Great Vibes Tribe and the Starburst. So I already have the Starburst group selected, so I'm going to hold down Shift and choose the text. And then what I want to do is I want to slice. And I'm going to get rid of the gray Great Vibes. So I'll highlight that layer and delete it. And I want to get rid of the part of the Starburst that is not behind, that wasn't behind the gray letters. So I'm going to click on that layer and delete it. And then this is what I'm left with, and I like it. So what I'm going to do is just move it over a bit, because it's actually, for me, it's too close over here on the ribbon. So I'm just gonna click it and just use my left arrow key on my keyboard and just scooch it a little bit. And yeah, I like that. So now what I'm gonna do is put a white offset around it. I'm gonna go up to offset, and I'm gonna change the offset from 0.25 to 0.05. I don't want the offset to be that big. And then I'm going to hit tab on my keyboard so I can see it before I commit to it. And I'm good with that. Remember, this is your cut file. If you want a bigger or a smaller offset around your letters, or no offset at all, is totally fine. So then I'm going to click on apply. And I actually want this offset to be white. So I'm going to go up to operation and click on the color picker and choose white. Now what I want is an offset behind the whole thing, another offset behind the whole thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight everything, I'm going to group it, and then I'm going back to offset. But I want a bigger offset around everything. So I'm going to go back here and put the 2 back in front of the 5. So the offset will be 0.25. Now, if you don't want your offset this big, it's totally fine. Notice we have these little pieces right here. If we have a smaller offset, so say we make this like 0.20, we might end up with more little pieces here, which is fine. We can fix that. So I'm gonna stick with 0.20. Actually, I'm gonna go down a little bit more. Let's go down to 0.15. Yeah, I wanna go with that. And then I'm gonna click apply. And I do want this offset to stay black, but I don't want the spaces in here, because if I cut this, then I'll have these spaces. Notice here, I have a huge space. So let's deal with this space. What I'm going to do is I am going to hide everything on top of the offset. And then I'm going to click on the offset and I'm going to click on contour. And let me just scooch this over to the left so we can kind of see, because a contour panel is going to come up. And we're going to get rid of all of these little spots, okay? So I'm coming over here to the right hand side and I'm just going to click on hide all contours, and it took all of that stuff out of there. Now I'm going to click X and they will stay gone. I'm going to turn all my other stuff back on, and this is what I have. What I don't want though is I don't want this right here. Okay, so let me turn this back off. Now you might be okay with that. So if you are, just leave it. But I don't want that space in there. I'm going to go to shapes and I'm going to get a square and I'm going to turn that square black. And then I'm going to bring that square over here to the space where I don't want this line to exist anymore. And I'm just going to bring it down until it's on top of the little divot next to it. So like right about here. And I'll click away just to see what it looks like, and that's what I want. So I'm going to highlight both the square and the offset, and then I'm going to weld them together. And what it's going to do is it's going to put that on the very top layer. So if I unhide my ribbon member of the Great Vibes Tribe, you won't see it. But all I have to do is go back to this and go to arrange and send it to the back, and I'm liking it. The last thing I want to do is I want to turn these stars white. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to shapes, and I'm actually going to get a star. I'll get this fat star and bring it over to the little star I have, and I will just not necessarily try to make it the same size, but at least make it where it stays inside the ribbon. And then I'm going to make it white. And then I'm going to select it and choose arrange, and I'm going to send it backwards, and I'm sending it backwards only so that it goes between that offset and the ribbon on top. I'm going to select it and I'm going to duplicate it and do the same thing on the other side. Now I could have basically done that with any shape, but I did it with the star. I sent it too far back, so I need to bring it forward. There we go. And I'm done. Now the only thing I need to do is I need to highlight it all and group it. And now I want to get rid of these black borders around the stars and the letters here. So I'm going to flatten it. And I am now ready to do whatever it is I want to do with this. If you hadn't saved, go ahead and save. I'm really bad about saving. Best practice is to save as you go, but I'm used to applications saving, auto saving, and Design Space doesn't do that. So our file is complete and I'm liking what I see. I'm hoping you either followed what I was doing or came up with your own file. If you have questions, leave me a comment. If you have concerns, leave me a comment. If you just have a comment, leave me a comment. And thank you so much for watching.